AKA Hannah Fielder, folks. Okay, everybody, it's 5:02. I'll still let people in, but we're going to get this party started so we can respect everybody's time. Like I said, I'm not a guru of technology, but I will do my very best. Am I already failing? Okay.
You're doing okay.
You got this.
There you go.
Okay. Oh, look, I'm here.
Yay.
Hey. Okay, Chris, it's to you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight for the North Region Recruitment Strategy and Idea Sharing. I am Chris Doe. I am from DeKalb, Illinois, which is 65 miles west of Chicago, right in the center of Northern Illinois. I've been involved with the American Cancer Society and Relay for Life for 22 years now, 23 years now. Wow, time flies. And I've had several different roles throughout that time. And I'm here to hopefully help give some ideas, but also take some ideas away on recruitment and strategy. So I am joined tonight by Nicole. I can't remember how to pronounce Woolsey. It's probably like Worcester in Massachusetts where you there's too many vowels. So Nicole's going to introduce herself.
I'm Nicole Woolsey, like we'll see about it. If that makes it easier. I'm a senior development manager for American Cancer Society over here in Washington State. And I oversee and work with the volunteers at Thurston County Relay for Life, and I work with the local board. So thank you, everybody, for joining. We have people from all across our region, which is really exciting. Okay, if you're not talking, if you could go on mute.
Ordered a section for it, so.
Okay, I hear somebody, so let's mute.
Have it on the background when we're in already.
Katie?
Nicole, you can go in and mute all.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so I want to just show everybody something real quick. It's our scorecard. Some of you may have seen this before. Some of you may not have, but this is something that internally we can look at that shows us some key points that we kind of track to see how our events are staying on track or where they're falling behind. So this is showing a quick snippet of our region. And this kind of shows us why we're having this call tonight. I believe knowledge is power. So I wanted to show you, I'm a firm believer, show the good, the bad, and the ugly, okay? So we're going to start with strides over here. It's still really early in the strides season, although it's a year-long event, but I just want to give a major kudos. You see all this green. So what we're looking at, we have our goals here, where we were last year's right here, and where we currently are. All kinds of green here for the strides. So let's give them a round of applause. They're totally rocking it, super stoked. And you can see where their current numbers are here. I mean, they're just up in every category, and this is really exciting. So if you're a strider, give yourself a pat on the back and tell all your leadership that they're doing a great job, and just keep up that work. So thank you for all that you do. Relay, first of all, do not be freaked out by the red. We're not focusing on any red. We're in a negative way. We're going to look at some things to celebrate. So here, committee members, look how far up we are in committee members across the region, like 600. This is incredible. So it shows that totally rocking on growing our leadership team. So tonight, as we're talking about recruiting, and this is recruiting leadership, all of this trickles down to how do we recruit teams and survivors and participants. It's really about growing our event. So know that we're going to say leadership tonight, but if we have a strong leadership, we can totally nail recruiting all of our participants, survivors, and teams, and just the community to our events. So what I really want to focus on tonight for relay is our participants, because everything else will be okay if we start just slaying this number, okay? So you'll see right now, we are down about 700 participants across the region. Might not sound like a megaton, but this can snowball fast. And that's why I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention. Because if you know this information, you can help problem solve. And we lean on our volunteers, you as leadership, to help us grow these numbers, to idea share, and to share the tips and tricks that are working for you so we can get this number up. But like I said, let's keep growing those strong committees, and then let's start recruiting our participants. And all of this red will be green really quick if we keep our focus there. Any questions regarding this scorecard? Okay, and I can only see what I'm sharing, just so everybody knows, so.
Yep, nothing in the chat.
Okay. Okay, well, I hope that's helpful for everybody, and now we're gonna kickstart the rest. Chris.
So we're just going to go through some quick housekeeping agenda items. Make sure that you stay on mute when you're not sharing, but please share if you have anything that you'd like to contribute. If you have any questions, we want this to be interactive and we want you to participate and be part of this as well. We're recording it, as Nicole said a little bit earlier. We have a couple of panelists that we're going to start with, then we'll have some open discussion. We'll talk a little bit about some resources, and then the recording and the slides with resources will be emailed out sometime during this week, I believe.
Okay. So I get to tell you who our panelists are tonight. And Brent, are you on the call? He was maybe not going to be able to make it, but since I can't see, give me a caw if you're on the call, Brent. Okay. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, I don't see him on.
Okay, I didn't see him come in either, but you know, I love a good caw. Okay, so we have 4 presenters because although Brent is not able to join us live, we have a recording. You know what? Chris and I were prepared. So we have Brent Crossman, who is going to share with us. He's on the leadership of the Greater Lansing Relay. This event has merged quite a few events, going from 1 to like 4 joining forces together. We know we have a lot of merged events across the United States, and they've been really successful in getting people from merged events and have a really positive experience from leadership. So he's going to share kind of what that journey looks like. Michelle Tibbetts from Shawnee County Relay for Life, super excited. She is fearless inviter to relay and joining leadership. So we're going to hear how she gets everybody to join her. Amanda Hanks from Thurston County Relay is going to share with us about the importance of being intentionally working the track or whatever kind of event you might be working. If it's a strides, or maybe it's a relay not on a track, but in a park or a circus, whatever you're doing. Carolyn Zeller, she's a senior development manager with ACS, and she manages 1,000 events, and I can't name them all because I'm not even kidding. She had 10 events last year. So I would say if you have 5 to 10 events, you gotta be really good at recruiting, or you probably would go insane. So I'm going to call her a subject matter expert, and she will be sharing with us tonight as well. So before I do our panel discussion, I'm going to share Brent Crossman's video. Now, not being the techie, bear with me. Hopefully this goes flawlessly.
So Nicole, while you're getting that queued up, I just want to mention to everybody that keep in mind that this is not just for relay events. You can utilize this across any platform with American Cancer Society. So ideas can be at a strides event, at an endurance event, relay event, whatever event you're at. So keep that in mind.
Okay, now when we tested this, Chris could hear it. I'm hoping that that is a situation now. Make sure you have your volume on.
Crossman, and I am the event lead this year for the Greater Lansing Relay for Life. And I've been asked to explain to you how we got all together as a group, coming from a variety of different communities to create one larger Relay for Life event. And so the first thing I'm going to tell you is it is not easy. It was a difficult process. There's no question about that. But the bottom line is you have to remember why you relay in the first place, right? We all are in this for the same reason. We want to find a cure for cancer. We want to end this awful disease, and we want to make sure that hopefully our kids and grandkids have it better with cancer than where we're currently at with it. It's getting better, but as we all know, there's no cure yet, and we're not going to stop until we get there. So my biggest thing is that. And then the second thing, though, is when you're bringing communities together, it's very difficult when you have, I'm going to say, the egos in the room, right? We all have experienced this, where you have people in the room that want to be bigger than the cause, and that creates some issues. We've been lucky in our area. I ran the Charlotte Relay for Life for a long time. Another group came from another town, Mason, and they ran a relay for a long time. And another group came from Holt, and they ran a relay for a long time. And we just kind of molded together and put all those ego things aside and said, look, let's try to do the best we can with where we currently are at. And once we got that rolling, and once we all got in the same room and we started to discuss ideas, and we all brought our own perspective from our own individual relays. And so now I think this has happened now for the last 3 years. I think now our relay is strong. It's getting stronger. And I think the biggest reason is we have these groups of people that their number one thing is, well, let's find a cure for cancer. Let's not worry about, well, this person said this or that person said that. I don't really care for that person. Nope. We put all that away, and we just concentrate on our Relay for Life event, making it the best Relay for Life event we can for that particular year. And we don't forget the pillars, right? Okay, we're gonna celebrate our successes. We're gonna fight back against this awful disease, and we're gonna remember the people that have come before us and that we've lost to cancer. But it's tough. I'm not going to tell you it's not, but if you can get some core people in the room together to make a difference and put the egos aside, you are really going to have a strong relay, and in my mind, an even stronger relay than what you thought you had in your own community. So that's my advice for right now. Good luck to you, and I hope all is well with your Relay for Life.
Drinking warm water before bed balances blood
Oh,
sugar
I'm not
levels.
gonna lie that I don't really know what to do. Okay, wait. Here we go. You guys, I'm a mess. Okay, are we back on the slideshow right now?
Yes.
Oh, Lord. Okay. I like this is going good so far. Oh, here's my cue to stop sharing. Awesome. You guys, this is how my life has lived. Sticky notes everywhere, reminders of what to do and not to do. I'm a note taker. So what I love about Brent is just validating. Like, it's really hard merging events and getting a bunch of personalities and people that have done really well and love their events in different communities. But he's right, getting those egos aside and just keeping the mission front and center, moving forward, empowering everyone from every community to have a word and being able to come up with ideas and brainstorm and have a seat at the table. So we're going to have more time for open discussion and after our panelists. So if you think of an idea or a question, maybe write it down, put it on your phone, because I want to get through the panelist part, because some might kind of come up with ideas or have answers to your questions you might ask. So thank you, Brent, when you watch this. I just want to say thank you so much. And thank you, Katie Jones, for introducing me to him. He is quite fabulous and has such a positive attitude. And I really love that. It was very cool meeting him. So I'm going to do one question to the next three panelists. And then I have questions that all of you can answer. So once I get to the open questions to our panelists, you can just kind of come off mute or raise your hand, just come up and just start answering the question. The panelists we got are coming from kind of different angles of where we get the obstacles in recruiting or hangups, growing our leadership. So, working that track, sometimes we're busy or we merged and it's hard, or, my coworkers just think all I do is talk about relay. So we wanted to hear from different angles how people recruit. So, Amanda, if you want to come off mute, I'm going to ask you a question first.
Okay.
Can you tell us how you intentionally work the track or whatever event you might be at that you lead, and why it is so important?
Okay. So I'm Amanda Hanks. I'm one of the event leads for Relay for Life of Thurston County. I have been the event lead for the past few years. And one of the things that I really focus on is working the track, or, whatever event it's at. We say work the track, but I've been on Strides leadership before too. And so these totally work for Strides and other events as well. And so one of the things that I specifically do is I talk pro cons and like love hate. So when I talk to people, especially when I go to each team on the track, I specifically ask them, what do you love about this event and what would you love for it to be improved? And so that's starting an open conversation. And I always tell, you have to tell me, because if I don't know, then I can't continue doing what you love or improve what you would like to see happen. And so that's one of my biggest things when working the track, because, you can just walk and be like, hey, just stopping in to say hi, or you can open the conversation up like that. So recently, not even recently, and then of course you do the follow-up. So when I leave each person, I take notes on my phone right then. So, because I'm talking to a lot of people, I take notes right then. Right then I take notes on, team ABC loved this, they want to improve this. And then after the event, I will follow up with them on what our plan is or what our action is to make their loves, their wants, everything happen. And even right then in the moment, I can tell them, hey, I would love to see that happen. Unfortunately, we don't have the leadership, the manpower to make that happen. But if you or any of your team members are interested, we would love to collaborate with you. Like an instant opening. And from those conversations, last year we got Clarissa on our team. She had relayed, and now she's full-blown leadership member. She loves everything. And then so when I was working Strides, I was paying attention to the day of volunteers. So the day of volunteers are already there. They already want to volunteer, and they're feeling the magic right then. The eye-opening, oh my gosh, I'm a part of something important. They want to do more. The chances are they want to do more than just day of. And a lot of times they just don't know how to get involved. And so talking to the day of volunteers is the perfect gateway to recruiting for leadership. When I was on the Strides leadership team, I recruited Michelle Gilbreth. She's on this call. Hey girl, hey. And now she's one of my co-leads. So that was amazing. I was just like, hey, you're really good at this. You're really involved. And we had a conversation with her, and now she's been involved for years. She's one of my co-leads. And that just, she started as a damn volunteer. And I was like, hey, girl, hey, you're a rock star and I need you forever on my team. And now she is. And so, like, these little conversations have led to like some great expansion on our leadership team.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I remember the day that she stole Michelle from Strides to Relay because they were both my events. So it was great though. Okay, next, Michelle Tibbetts. And thank you, Amanda. That was great. And I think that a lot of notes will be taken, just reminders, and we'll expand upon that as well. But Michelle, if you would like to come off mute, I'm putting you on the spotlight next. My question to you. I hear you're really good at getting all your coworkers or workers and friends and everybody involved to join leadership in Relay. So can you share how you have had success recruiting leadership through being fearless and getting all your coworkers involved?
Okay, good evening, everybody. I've got 5 C's. First one is be courageous. Do what you're uncomfortable doing. Take that step. If it's something that sounds outrageous to do it, it's probably going to get somebody's attention. So courage is step number 1. In order to take that courage and carry it forward, you need to be creative. So again, think outside the box. Look online, ask friends, ask people what's working for their school fundraisers, their church fundraisers. Get ideas. And again, I've come up with some crazy off the wall stuff that hasn't been done before. And there's only one thing that can happen. It won't work. So you've learned a lesson and you don't try it again. But you're also not going to know how successful it could be if you don't try. My other C is connections. Find out what connects people to Relay, what is going to draw people in. We've all been impacted by cancer, whether it's a friend, a neighbor, family. Take that connection and use it to get that buy-in, to get people to support you. And beyond that, communication. One thing that I have done for my coworkers is at the beginning of our fundraising campaign, I outline what the entire campaign is going to look like, what they can expect from fundraising, what the volunteer opportunities are, how they can get involved, and just provide communication updates on what our success is, where are we at? Here's our goal and this is where we're at currently. And that really keeps people engaged and committed because they want to reach those goals. So if you're really public with your goals and communicate those things, it'll drive people and push them to commit even further. And my final C is that commitment. Once you go in, go all in, commit 100%. And that means see everything through to the end. And then at the end, for me, my commitment is, if you weren't able to attend the event, I happen to work with a group of people that work shift work. So not everybody's able to attend, but they have helped us get to our goal. Circle back and communicate, hey, this is what we did, and thank you. Thank you for helping us get there. That part of the communication, bringing it all together and thanking people for what they've done to support you is key in getting that return support.
Okay, I wrote all of those down. And I'm obsessed. I love it. Thank you. Okay, now I know why Carolyn said, oh my gosh, you have to meet Michelle. So I hope everybody else wrote down the 5 C's, but remember, we are sending out the recording. So if you missed any, it will be in the recording. And those were 5 awesome C's. They all get like 5 gold stars each. So thank you so much. It really breaks it down and makes it really easy, when you think of it in these 5 C's. I love that. And we have a leadership meeting tomorrow. And guess what we're going to talk about tomorrow? We're going to talk about the 5 C's. Whoever's running that meeting, I think you're on here. Please write that down. Okay, and Carolyn, our staff partner with 1000 Events. Thank you so much. And like I said, who could be a better expert at recruiting than somebody who she had 10 events last year. So you got to be like boss at it because there's no way a staff person can do this alone. We love our amazing volunteers. We depend on you, and we got to have our rock stars lined up so that the mission can be possible. So I guess, Carolyn, you had 10 events. You can talk about whatever you want. My biggest question, I think, is, and you can go off subject because you're a superstar, but really, what does it look like being a staff person and working with, what is your role in recruitment and how do you work together with your leadership? What does that synergy look like?
Well, I just want to say Michelle is a rock star. So she has so much wealth of knowledge, and I just appreciate her very much. And Shelley's on here too, who is also another wealth of knowledge. So just appreciate all that you two ladies do, because you are wonderful. So as staff, I practice servant leadership, which is one of my favorite terms to use, which is whatever I ask my ELT to do, I'm jumping in right along with them. So if we're recruiting volunteers, I'm doing it too. I never ask my volunteers to do anything that I don't want to do. So we're looking through Facebook friends, we're running reports of our top fundraisers, looking through the Facebook group for our most engaged followers. You know, we're looking for new team captains. We're looking through old spreadsheets of previous ELT or team captains that haven't been involved for a while. We divvy up who contacts who. If I know them better, I reach out, and if someone else knows them, they contact them. You know, we've just tried and true things that work every single time. But I know that you are 1000% more likely to say yes to someone that you know versus someone you don't, even if you may recognize their name. So that's just the number one factor right there, is to make that personal ask, and then find someone who has that connection that you know.
I love it. Thank you. Yeah, sometimes we forget, like, just to go look at who is lapsed or who was on leadership 5 years ago. Like, life happens. Sometimes you need a couple years off. We had a pandemic in the middle of everything. Maybe they're not in the same space they were when they needed some time off. So, and I so agree, like, who has that connection, that relationship, and can bring that 5 C's to life with these folks. So thank you so much. Next question, and this is any of our panelists that would like to answer, just go for it. I have 3 more questions. If you don't have an answer for one of these, it's okay. And if you all 3 do, please all 3 take turns and share. How do you assure you're thinking through growing the diversity of your leadership? Remembering that diversity is not just race, but also age, backgrounds, gender, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Have you had successes? How do you map that? Anything to do with diversifying what your leadership team looks like?
So, Amanda here. I want to talk a little bit about what we like to work on within our leadership team. Is we like to have like a specific meeting to fill in, I mean, like the holes in our leadership. Like, do we have different races? Do we have women and men? Do we have, you know, all of those things? And it's like, you know, a wheel where we're like, we have this, or if not, then how can we look into our community and fill in those gaps? So like, we have tribes in Thurston County, we have Native Americans, Thurston County, and like, if we're not inviting them, then they don't know that they want, you know, to be part of this. Recently, we invited one of the tribes, and they are not on leadership yet, but they are like fully immersed in our relay, and they're even doing leadership type things such as tabling. And so it's like one baby step at a time, we can get more and more on leadership. Yes. And a lot of time, like, we don't have a lot of men on our leadership. And so looking at, you know, roles and what would make sense for asks for men on our leadership. And just a big, I suggest doing the wheel and like finding where your holes are and then figuring out how you can get in the community to fill those holes.
I can follow that. I will say guys are also the minority of our ELTs, and then kind of younger, like I'd say either high school or, you know, college age, early 20s. And one of my events this year has 3 guys on there, which is very impressive because usually there's 1 or 2. So very happy about that. And we also have a younger member as well. And they were all previous team captains. And so that, you know, that list that I gave, that's just, those are just such easy, warm leads, especially if they're maybe just a new team captain or a like a co-captain. So go for those warm leads.
Thank you so much. And when we open up discussion in just a few minutes. We definitely would love to hear that question answered by anybody else as well. You all are great at what you do, and you show up year after year and you're leading our events, and some of you have relayed for 1 year and some of you have relayed for 25. So we have such a different wealth of knowledge. So please share and help us all learn from you. Next question. What is an obstacle you have found in recruiting and how did you overcome it?
So I found one of our biggest obstacles of recruiting a lot of times is when you're talking to people about joining leadership, and then suddenly they're very concerned about their time commitment. People are always like, oh, I don't have the commitment, but like especially for our event, we can make a role for you. We can give you any sort of time commitment that you're able to do. And so by opening that line of conversation, it's like, yeah, if you can't do monthly meetings, but you could do a ton of, phone calling for us. Like, yeah, if that's your time commitment, or for whatever kind of time commitment you have. And that's how we've overcome that, is just by working with their time commitments, because that is generally the biggest obstacle, is people are afraid of their time commitment.
I can go next. One of my obstacles is finding the right communication style per each person. So, depending on their age, their generation, if you're me, you want to call me, probably not going to answer your call. If you text me, I'm gonna read it in 5 seconds and reply in less than 5 seconds, because I'm already going to be on that reply back. So, finding the right way to communicate with people, and sometimes it's easy to miss that if you're just doing all emails, doing all text, doing all calls. So, paying attention to that. My favorite way, which gets me on the almost stalker list, is to send messages through Facebook Messenger. And the reason why is because you can see if that person has read it. Like text, sometimes, if someone leaves you on read, it's the same thing. But with Messenger, it's all the time. You can see if someone's read it. And then you can see when they are last active as well, too. So I really like that part of it. And then if someone's a little bit older, they may want an email or even a phone call. But the obstacle with all of that, regardless of the communication style, is that people just don't respond right now, and it's because they're busy and they have a lot going on. And there's always a lot going on, but it just seems busier and busier these days. And so you have to follow up with people. You have to give them a couple days or a week, but you just have to keep asking them and following up with them.
I would just like to say that you've just made me feel old, Carolyn, because I'm that old person that, that definitely does not want a text message. I want that warm connect, and I want somebody to call and ask me, and then you can text me and email me and stalk me all you want to after that. But I find it hard to make those connections sometimes when you're sending out a written email. You don't get that emotion. And I also think it's harder for people to say no when they're talking to you or looking you face to face versus, hey, like you said, you can leave that text message or email, unread. It's a little bit harder when you have somebody directly in your face. And it doesn't mean that that has to be the primary means, but I think if you can get that warm connect in the beginning, it makes it easier to follow up with an email, because now they have a picture of who it is that they're talking to and what the need is. So again, that's just my opinion. I'm sure others that won't, but that's just one thing I think is gives us that opportunity to create those connections that'll be lasting.
Michelle, if you call me, I'm always going to answer. I just want you to know that. So,
well, that's okay. You don't have to. I'll just keep calling.
It's different when Michelle calls you, okay? If it's just somebody else, it's totally a separate kind of thing. Katie, I know that you said you could kind of speak on behalf of Brent, who was one of our panelists, about recruiting youth.
Yes, coming to you from my kitchen. Yeah, I'll pretend I'm Brad. He's on vacation right now. So Brett, he is a retired teacher, and so he has a lot of 19-year-olds in his phone that are graduated from high school, but they are attending school locally, college locally, or they're on a gap year. And so he just like shot him some texts. Speaking of how to know how to reach out to different generations, he just shot him text, explain, hey, this is a great way to build like resume, get experience. You guys love doing they did relay in high school. And in our first meeting, he told me he texted like 3 of his students, and he goes, I haven't heard back from him yet. And then we hear these voices, and showed up. They surprised him. So, and then he recruited a 4th one, so there's actually a 4 to 19-year-olds now on our committee. And yes, not everyone's a retired teacher, but the point being is like, you often don't think, like, you're like, oh, those kids are in college. Like, they're going to get involved in like the campus relay if they have one, or ACS on campus. But not every senior leaves home right away. Some of them are taking gap years, some are going to community college or just commuting. And so they're not really on campus, and they're still looking for those opportunities. So it's a group that I had forgotten about, honestly. So I was just sharing that from Brett.
No, I really appreciate that. And we only get to know if we don't ask, you know, I mean, we don't even have an opportunity to hear that yet. So remembering to ask people, no matter what part of the community they are from. So inviting, building that connection, understanding what is other people's why, when you understand their time commitment and their skills and what they might be interested in, either they're already good at it and want to stay in their comfort zone, or want to learn something new and be outside of their comfort zone. But I think the more we engage with people and understand their why also is really helpful, and understand what they're interested in, because just saying, do you want to be on leadership doesn't sound cool, you know, but when we build that connection, sounds way cooler to be like, do you want to be a part of this? So, well, thank you so much to our amazing panelists. I hope everybody took some notes, and we're going to move to some open discussion that Chris is going to lead here. And just know, like, you have communities. So everyone on this call, this is you growing your network across the nation. So lean in on each other. We're going to send this out. If you're like, I don't know who that person Sherry was, where she's from, I know people. So we'll get you connected.
Oh, I love that in the chat. Recruit your little sister. So I just want to make one comment that the information that the panelists gave, super, super informative, and things that I was like, oh yeah, duh, that makes sense. I was that person that was never invited to an event, but it took me several years to get involved because I reached out and nobody ever got back to me. So that's one thing that I wanted to make sure to mention as well. And I think somebody else kind of mentioned that in their answer. Don't forget to follow up with people who reach out and want to know how to get involved, because sometimes you may miss that rock star person that might be there for the next 25, 30 years and may have those connections in your community. I didn't have connections at the time, but I really wanted to get involved because I was passionate about what was going on with cancer in my family. So just remember that and kind of keep that in mind too. So we had some really great information that was shared with us. And now we want to give you all the opportunity to share some of your ideas or ask questions that maybe people on here can help answer or help brainstorm and give some ideas. This is now a great opportunity to do a little bit of networking. And so we're going to take about 10 minutes. Come off of mute. Type in the chat if you wish, ask your questions, make your comments. We want you to be involved in this.
Hey, this is Donna Hood. I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a note taker. When I was doing Michelle's 5 C's, I only have 4 written down. Could you just say them each again and I'll see what I forgot?
Courage,
Okay.
creativity,
Okay.
connection, communication, and commitment.
Commitment. Okay. Well, I got creative over by out of the box, so it wasn't in line where it belonged. Thank you. I loved them. I loved all of those.
Thank you.
Well, I'll say something else. This, uh, our committee this year, we were able to get 3 new members, which was just very exciting. And 2 of them, well, one of them has high school age student, and the other has a college age student. And we've really been working with Jeannie to see if her high school son, we just don't have any young teens. And so we were trying to find an in there somewhere, to get some high school kids interested and for them to think it's kind of a cool event. We're still working on that. So if anybody has a creative way to, involve high school, or we have a junior college here. So that's also a good opportunity, but we just haven't hit the right connection yet.
My advice is sacrifice your children. That's what I did to my son. For his 4 years of high school. I did a fundraiser every year that said that he would dress as a female character if we raised X amount of dollars. And he did so, no questions asked, just because of the impact to cancer in our family. And every year, I guarantee you, we absolutely met our goal. And every year he had friends from school that wanted to come to the event because they wanted to see him have to dress up. So it worked. It worked perfectly. And it just, like I said, something totally off the wall like that. And it got younger kids involved just for the fact that it was going to be a laugh for them. But while they're there, they end up helping. And again, they end up coming back. I mean, if you make it exciting, they end up coming back. So
I love that. Sacrifice your children.
Exactly.
Roxy, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Nicole. So we recently had a summit in Oregon and Southwest Washington, and we talked a lot about recruitment. And one of the great ideas that came up was if somebody came up to you, if I came up to you, Nicole, and I said, you were so energetic at this event that we were just at, would you like to join the committee? You're probably going to say no, because you're a busy lady. You've already got your volunteer stuff lined up. But if I came up to you and said, hey, Nicole, you were really, really fun over there by the silent auction at this event. Would you consider coming and being just part of the silent auction next year? So it was a smaller ask. It was more of an episodic ask. And it was something that you already enjoyed doing. And so it was a way to get you involved, but not have to come to a committee meeting every month when you're already super busy and everything like that. So if you can line somebody up that way and make a real specific ask, it can be turn into something really great, and it may even morph into something bigger.
Thanks, Roxy.
He has her hand up.
I'll just talk. So I had put this in one of the North Stargazers about 10 things ago, but it's something that I didn't even say this in here, so you guys get in on it. But one of the things, I've moved a lot. So I've been to a lot of those first meetings at new events. And one of my favorite things to do is to go in and be quiet and listen and watch. And so, but what happens is, because I'm not loud and crazy and energetic, people just completely overlook me and assume that I'm not going to be a good part of their committee or their team. So I highly recommend paying attention to the quiet people too. Like, a lot of the quiet people may not be your loud announcers or MCs, but they may have some great insight and ideas and new ways of looking at things. So make a point to go over and talk to those people that aren't super loud and crazy too. And remember that the quiet people, or it's called ambivert, where it's a little bit introvert, a little bit extrovert, and you get those people in the middle. You got to remember those too and help beef up the crew as well.
Great point, Becky. Thank you. Amanda, you got your hand up?
Yeah, so I just wanted to touch base on something that Katie had said about what Relay for Life of Thurston County does in the comments. She had said that about finding roles for people. And so in Thurston County, we love to just find out people's interests. Like it's easy to find, look at the list and see your holes, but it's easier to find what people's interests are and find what fits for them. We have had a stuff chair. That's what we've just called them, a stuff chair, for as long as I can remember. They don't fit into any specific role. There's not really a role we can make for them, but they want to be involved. And so they're like, the stuff chair. And I can say that both of the people that we've had on a stuff chair have now decided to move up within the ranking, like the levels, the helpfulness of our committee. So like Michelle, like I said, she's one of my co-leads. She was a stuff chair. She just wanted to help when it was available. And now she's so into it, she's a co-lead. And we had one that was a stuff chair, and she's now on the survivor caregiver team. And so making sure that you just find a role that works for them instead of trying to fit them in a hole that you have is super beneficial. And once you have them on the team, they just want to go above and beyond. And so getting just that small portion really helps. Get a stuffed chair.
That is a really good and a really important point, Amanda. I was in a role doing sponsorship one year, and it was not my gig, and I did not do very well. And I felt horrible because I didn't feel like I was contributing that much. So finding some place or asking me where I wanted to fit or what I wanted to do allowed me to utilize my skills a little bit better, where when I was sponsorship, I wasn't utilizing much very well. So that's a really great point. But I loved it. Stuffed chair idea. We've had a couple of comments in the chat. What a great idea. We've just got a couple of minutes. Do we have Nicole? Did you have something, or do we have any?
I just saw and I got a direct message. So I just a couple comments in here. People have talked about using FFA and going and getting a hold of counselors and the DECA leader and leadership. Rotary is one that not Rotary, Interact. We get about 50 students, 35 to 50 students at our event come. It might not be a leadership role, not always, but just getting them involved and to get that exposure to Relay for Life. So we just had a few different people mention that. So this says we use our local FFA students from the local high schools, and they are great. And they help every single year with set up the day of the event. We never know what that will blossom into. It starts with set up as a team or getting community service hours, but that could blossom into in the future. You just never know where it will take them. They might be the next fundraisers, might be the next oncologists. Like we don't know, but they're getting exposed to what we're doing in the mission, and that's where it begins sometimes, most of the time.
So Nicole did put a couple of thought questions in the chat that you can take away with you as you leave tonight, and think about these as you're going through trying to figure out your recruiting strategy. What are some successes you've had recruiting? Think about those successes and kind of build off of those. How are you diversifying your ELT? Where are you going out and maybe making those asks at? Think of the different organizations and service organizations that are out there that may have different individuals that you might not ever think about making that ask with. What is your obstacle and how did you overcome it? That may help you in thinking about other reach outs as you're working on your recruitment strategy. So we're going to finish out the night with a couple of resources and some ideas for you all. And Nicole's going to share her screen again here. There are several resources that are available to you all online. There's acsresources.org. If you've not gone and checked that out, we highly recommend it. There are a lot of different areas that you can look at for resources. There's a training section under Relay for Life where there's various trainings out there. There's more to come. There's a network and connection area where you can go out and learn from each other. There's just a whole lot of resources out there. So really, really, really great place to go grab information. There's also a Relay for Life community Facebook page. This is where we often see a lot of events and individuals who are doing fundraising events. Might not be specifically a relay event, but it may be a community event that they're hosting. And they'll share ideas, they'll ask questions, and it's a great way to connect with other relayers across the nation. There's also a North region. So our region has a Strides Connect page out on Facebook. Jill, who I think is actually on her tonight, is managing that page, and she really has been sharing some great content, really good ideas, and connects the Strides community together throughout the North region. There's also, we mentioned some recruitment tips out on ACS resources, as well as the recruitment wheel. The recruitment wheel has been a resource that has been used for several years since I've been involved, and it really is very helpful. Amanda mentioned it earlier tonight about the wheel, and that recruitment wheel can give you some really great ideas of maybe where are holes that you haven't asked for individuals that might be interested, or where you might be able to look for some diversity in your ELT, in your event volunteers, and even recruiting teams to your event as well. So those are some resources that we wanted to make sure to share with you. There's also a community assessment out on ACS resources. The acsresources.org has a lot out there. It's a great area. There's also a recruitment wheel for Making Strides Against Breast Cancer, a circle of influence, which is out on ACS resources, and that'll help you kind of tie to different areas where you can also make some asks. Becky Van Loon has, she does this weekly Stargazer for Relay for Life. It's an e-newsletter. She has fantastic content every week, some really great ideas, and connects a lot of relayers together with that. And then keep your eye out for future discussions and trainings for the North region. We will be hosting some things in the future. Next month, I will be having a conversation with Diane Denoyer and Nan Jenkins, who are the leads for the Voices of Hope, and we will be sharing information on the Voices of Hope program and what they are. And then we've got some other really great trainings and information sessions that'll be coming up soon. And then we just wanted to remind you about recruitment strategy. Assess your volunteer situation and determine what your needs are. We had some really great ideas tonight as to what to do after you've done that assessment, or where to look at to do your assessment in, and where exactly are you needing to recruit your volunteers. Identify your areas in the community for recruitment opportunities. Use that recruitment wheel. That'll really help you out there. Put a plan in place, set some goals, and get everyone involved. Not just your lead, not just your staff partner and your lead, but everyone on your ELT. If you're trying to recruit teams, anybody that's involved with that team recruitment, and also ask your teams to get involved, or your team captains, and help with the recruitment as well. Take action, put your plan in place, and make those asks. Come up with a quick 30-second or 15-second elevator speech, if you will. So you've got something like right at the ready to go. When you run into that person out in the community, you've got your relay gear on, and they ask you, hey, what's that? Be ready to answer what that is and how they can get involved. And then make sure you follow up. Following up is very important. It's a way to keep them engaged. It's a way to have them understand how important it is for them to get involved, and keep going back to that plan and reviewing it, and adding and taking away, and making those asks, and keep reaching out. And then make sure that you celebrate those wins. You've asked some person several times and they've said no, they've said no, they've said no, and then they said yes. Celebrate that yes. Back in 2011, I was at a summit and they said, for every 10 asks you make, you may get 9 no's, but that 10th ask might be the one that will be the yes. So don't be afraid to keep asking.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I quit sharing because it's driving me nuts to not be able to see people. But it does say question, and then it has our. I'm like, I'm gonna go insane right now. I'm just like looking at my. I want to say thank you to everybody so much, and you know, I'm like a cheerleader. I love cheerleading people. If there's anything myself or anyone on this call can do to help you, we have our North Region Volunteer Leadership Team on here. You know, maybe anyone from the North Region Leadership Team. I can also include actually their contact. So in the follow-up, because you have resources and there are people here that are here to support you, and we're growing our teams across the nation really to have a support system and get ideas. But remember, you're experts on here. You all are. You're doing great things. So remember that scorecard, and remember, we are only 700 behind across an entire region. We don't want it to be more because then it starts getting a little scary. It's only 700, okay? I feel like we have like 30 like rock stars on here that know like all of these other rock stars. Let's get out there and be empowered to recruit, grow your leadership teams, take what you heard tonight and recruit your teams, your survivors, keep growing that leadership so it spreads that work out so you have more people to help you grow your event. But I know all of you, hopefully this just gets you empowered and like super stoked. Okay, so we're very grateful for y'all taking time late evening to join us. So I'm going to pass it to Chris, and this is kind of my thank you, and we appreciate you so much. And goodbye from me.
And I was just typing in the chat, so I won't type this. Our contact information will be on the slides when you receive those. So if you need to reach out to us, feel free to. If you need to reach out to any of the leads, so our North Region leadership team consists of Roxy Smith, Lisa Wilfong, and Shelly Arnold. So if you ever need to reach out to them or you want their contact information, get in contact with Nicole and I, and we can get that to you or get you connected with them. So I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. Thanks, Nicole. Thanks to our presenters. I took some information away, which will be very helpful to share with others. And I appreciate everybody that was on here tonight. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks, Chris and Nicole. This was great.
Oh,
Good night.
thank
It
you
was
so
a great
much.
call.
That's great. Thank you.